on a like a day-to-day basis when you're performing, these activities or tasks that they have set up for you, um, is it more of like a small group type thing, or is it larger groups? Do they break you up by um, like, is there any specific criteria that they break you up into? Like, if maybe break them up into all presidents or people who are, in the South region or whatever. What's kind of like the activities day to day? What's the setup like?
Well, as far as the kind of breakdown goes of where everybody's kind of organized into, where it differs from Balfour is that Balfour you're there to you're in a specific track for a kind of leadership training for your specific office or something you're aspiring to do. At UIFI Futures Quest, it's more there's kind of a general common point that everybody kind of is led to understand, and that is put in front of them and explained to them, and kind of given the opportunity to really soak that in. So everybody's trying to get to the same goal. Last year's theme was elevate. Really take yourself and try and push yourself higher, and use the tools and the knowledge you've got here to elevate not only yourself but the people around you. So really the breakdown as far as who is where doesn't matter because everybody's trying to get to the same point. Um, it was organized a lot like Balfour also in that you had a large group where you had everybody together. There were certain things we did all together, certain activities, certain kind of lessons or the things we shared together. And then there were chapters. There was small groups that you broke down into where you took a larger theme that we were dealing with during that chunk of the day or during that 2 days, and you broke it down on a more individualized basis where everybody could have a voice, where everybody could kind of get their input and really get something out of it and reflect on it.
Cool. Um, you had brought up Balfour, and the fraternity has Horizons. They have Balfour. They have Choices, the drug awareness program, and stuff like that. So it sounds like it's pretty similar to what the fraternity does with Horizons and Balfour. Um, would would that be a pretty correct statement?
I'd say that similar goals, and that you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to elevate your talented and best and brightest leadership, or those demonstrating leadership potential to demonstrate it. You want to elevate them and give them the tools to do it. I would say that as opposed to Horizons, UIFI Future Quest are significantly less exclusive. They're definitely more wide open, and really, it's forever for whoever's interested. I mean, obviously there are a certain amount of spots you have to fill, where you may get more selective after a certain point, but um, it's not as selective in that respect. It's not quite as individually job focused as Balfour is. It's really trying to give you a kind of trying to give a lot of people a general picture of what the real world's perception of Greek life and an individual as a member of that Greek community really is, and how we as individuals and have the power and can empower our chapters and our organizations to really change that world viewpoint and take away all those overwhelmingly negative things about drug and alcohol abuse and sexual abuse and things like that, and really turn that on its head and demonstrate all of the overwhelmingly positive things we do and how we need to stop being so cynical and really look at the amazing amount of community service hours, the incredible amount of money we raise, the organization and leadership we lend to the communities, not only that are Greek at our local schools, but also at our whole universities and far beyond that. I mean, as far as up into Congress and beyond.
I know when we had spoke just the other day, you had talked about some of the benefits that you saw directly from these programs with students coming in. They go through the program, and then within, I can't remember exactly what it was. I think it was a year to year and a half. People in your small group were already leading their fraternity or sorority. Do you remember what the numbers were on that when we had talked about that?
Yeah,
I believe it was.
my individual chapter, there were, I think, six chapters six groups of people broken down out of the whole group when I went to my UIFI session last summer, and I believe we had 11 people in that chapter, kind of our small group where two facilitators talked to us directly. Out of that, I know we had at least two members of that chapter go on to be elected presidents of their local chapters within the next semester. And I think a few other people got heavily involved in their local kind of Panhellenic or IFC council. So it had I think everybody served as an officer of some kind going into next year at least. I, being very interested in being the Geester and my chapter and having already committed and being elected to that, I took that and applied everything I could about strategic planning and organization and instilling the values that I really wanted to see my pledges, believe in and carry forward. So they understood the full significance that they're not just living in a petri dish, that they're living out in front of everybody, and that their actions, as cliche as it is to say, affect all of us. It actually does happen, and to pick up the newspaper and to see when something happens to a fraternity, it's not just, oh, a fraternity did this, it's this fraternity, and everybody gets labeled the same way.
Right. Yeah. That's pretty impressive to see that that a program can have that much of an impact that the very next semester people are, getting voted to such high offices, especially considering that the program's for, the younger, newly initiated, top people. So it's pretty impressive to hear that about a program. Do you have, or do you happen to know about the time of year that the program usually, you said it was right after your finals in the fall semester, right?
Futures Quest takes place in a fixed location, which would be in Indiana, I believe in Lafayette. That takes place two sessions, one before Christmas and one after New Year's. They're both, I believe it is a 4-day long program, so not quite as long as UIFI. UIFI is five full days of intensive programming and training and all those things. UIFI takes place, there are 10 sessions this summer. Actually just started this week. The first one just started on Monday, or I believe it actually would have been Wednesday, so they're 2 days into it now. They just go in succession at the Beta House at IU, and they bring in a new group of people, and I've got to work it out because I just got a job in Dallas, but I'm scheduled to be an intern, kind of a assistant facilitator at the 5th session, which is the second week in June, coming up at IU. So hopefully I can work that out and go. I'm really excited. I really love the program. The people in it are fantastic, and I think what's really great about it is that I've kept in contact with many of the people that I met there at my UIFI session, not just the people in my own chapter. It's really been great to spend 5 days with people, but you really grow to trust them, know them, and develop significant friendships that can be people that'll help motivate you because they've been through a similar situation, and they understand what helps to motivate you, and the fantastic methods they use there at UIFI. And it's a great network, and a great place to develop fantastic contacts and be in contact with people who really care the most about being Greek advisors, about being Greek leaders, and really can show how much they care about Greek life, but also care about you as a person. I think that's really important that, I can sit in a classroom and learn a bunch of stuff. But if I can tell the professor, the teacher, the facilitator in front of me cares as much about how I understand it and how I can apply it as a person, what it means to me, it has a much bigger effect. And I think that's a big reason why it's so successful.